Doctor lied about my cancer diagnosis and gave me chemotherapy when I was never even sick. I need to share the facts of what happened before I file this lawsuit. I'm posting this anonymously for now, but that's not going to be the case for long because I'm filing a lawsuit, a real one, and I need people to understand what happened before all the press and headlines twist the story. I'm a 32-year-old woman, and up until about a year ago, I was relatively healthy. I had the normal adult complaints: fatigue, weight fluctuation, stress headaches, but nothing that screamed serious illness. I've always had a sensitive gut, prone to nausea, and some food intolerance issues, but I managed. Around April of last year, I started experiencing what felt like more intense fatigue than usual. I was sleeping 10 to 12 hours and still waking up tired. I'd get random bruises, and I noticed I had this low-grade ache in my joints. I chalked it up to stress or possibly autoimmune issues. I also had some blood work come back with slightly low white blood cell counts and elevated inflammatory markers. Nothing outrageous, but enough to flag something might be off. My primary doctor, who I'd seen for years, referred me to a hematologist-oncologist. Let's call him Dr. K. Dr. K was charismatic, polished, super confident. He told me flat out during my first appointment that he didn't like the way my blood work looked and that it could be early signs of something hematological. He didn't say the word cancer at first, but I could see it in his eyes. He was already thinking it. I went through a ton of tests, more blood panels, a bone marrow biopsy, which was hell, imaging, even a PET scan. After all of that, Dr. K sat me down in his office and told me I had early-stage acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I remember that moment in perfect clarity. My legs went numb. I couldn't breathe. He showed me lab printouts and imaging and talked about preemptive protocols and starting chemotherapy ASAP to stay ahead of it. I wasn't even given time to mentally process it. I was just in it. I started chemo 2 weeks later, and let me tell you, it broke me. I lost my hair. I threw up for weeks. I developed mouth sores so bad I couldn't eat solid food. I lost 28 pounds. My period stopped. I couldn't taste food. I had to take time off work indefinitely. My boyfriend, well, ex now, tried to be supportive at first, but eventually couldn't handle it and left. My whole life collapsed into survival mode. Friends brought me soup. My sister shaved her head with me in solidarity. My parents cried with me. I told everyone. I made peace with the idea that I might die. I started journaling letters to people in case I didn't make it. That's how far gone I was. And through it all, Dr. K was calm, assuring. "This is what the treatment is supposed to feel like," he said. "It's working. You're strong. We caught it early." Except, here's where everything fell apart. After about 5 months of treatment, something shifted. I went in for a second opinion. Not because I suspected anything shady, but because a family friend who's an oncologist at a research hospital offered to have her colleague take a look at my case file. She said it was just good to have multiple eyes on it. That second opinion saved my life. Her colleague, we'll call him Dr. R, asked to see all the pathology reports, biopsy slides, imaging, and treatment records. I gave them everything I had. Within a week, he called me and asked if I could come in. When I sat down in his office, he looked genuinely uncomfortable. He asked me if I had ever seen my own lab results. I said no, I just saw the printouts Dr. K gave me, whatever summaries he showed me in appointments. I never knew what I was looking at anyway. I trusted him. Dr. R pulled up the full pathology reports, the original biopsy, the blood panels. He walked me through them, line by line. There was nothing indicating leukemia. Nothing close. Yes, some levels were a little off, but well within the range of other, far less serious conditions: iron deficiency, stress-induced anemia, maybe mild autoimmune flare, but no cancer, no malignancy, nothing that justified chemotherapy. Then he said something I'll never forget. "I don't know how to tell you this, but based on what I'm seeing, you were never sick enough to be treated this way." My ears were ringing. I asked him what he meant. Like, was it a mistake? A misdiagnosis? Could this be some massive lab mix-up? He shook his head. "The slides are labeled with your full name and ID. This is your file, but the diagnosis, the one you were given, does not match the evidence at all." I asked if he was sure. He said he'd had 2 different pathologists at the hospital confirm it. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there like my brain had disconnected from my body. I think I mumbled something like, "So I just got chemo for no reason?" He looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm afraid so." I don't remember how I got home that day. I was numb. I opened my medicine cabinet and just stared at all the pills. The anti-nausea meds, the mouthwash for sores, the painkillers, the steroids. My body is still messed up from all of it. My hair's barely growing back. I still can't regulate my appetite. I have panic attacks when I smell antiseptic wipes. I trusted a doctor with my life, and he poisoned me. And here's the truly messed up part. I still don't know why. I've since retained an attorney, a real one, not some sketchy TV ad guy. This attorney has already sent a demand for full records to Dr. K's office. We're preparing to file. I can't say too much legally yet, but what I can say is that there are serious questions about Dr. K's clinical trial affiliations and pharmaceutical incentives. We're looking into whether he was part of a reimbursement scheme for chemo drugs or padding enrollment for treatment response studies. My lawyer said there's a name for this. Medical battery. It's rare, but it happens, and it's serious. I'm posting this here first because I want the facts out. Before lawyers and media people start spinning it, I want the raw, ugly truth told plainly. This happened. To me. I'm not crazy. I didn't imagine it. And if it happened to me, I can't help but wonder who else he's done this to. I'm still figuring out what my life looks like now. I'm angry. I'm broken in places I can't even name, but I'm not going away, and I'm not staying quiet. Update 1. This goes so much deeper than I thought. Word count, approximately 1,654. Okay, I didn't expect to be back this soon, and I sure as hell didn't expect the flood of messages, DMs, comments, and even emails that came in after I posted. A bunch of people shared personal horror stories. Others called it a hoax. You're not worth my breath. But most of you just wanted updates. And trust me, I've got them. Way more than I even wanted. Because what started as I was given chemo for a fake cancer diagnosis has now turned into something way bigger. It's not just me. I'm not the only one. Let me walk you through what's happened since the first post. After the second opinion doctor, Dr. R, told me something wasn't adding up, my lawyer filed a formal medical records request to Dr. K's office. Legally, they're required to provide a full copy of my patient file within 30 days. We got it in 11. I think they wanted it off their plate fast. That in itself was weird. But here's the thing. The file was clean. Too clean. Like someone had gone in and polished it. No drafts of reports, no notes that contradicted anything. Every report from the pathology lab, which by the way is a small private lab Dr. K personally refers to for almost all his patients, just happened to confirm exactly what he told me. But even a basic review by my lawyer's hired medical expert showed that the language used in the diagnostic report was copy-pasted, like literally Control-C, Control-V, same phrases, same formatting, from sample case files online. And the pathology report I was shown when I was first diagnosed, it wasn't signed, no pathologist's name, just an electronic stamp from the lab itself, totally non-standard. That's when it hit me like a punch to the face. He forged the diagnosis, or someone working with him did. I can't overstate how sick I felt reading that, not just because of what he did, but because of how easy it apparently was. I trusted these people with my blood, my literal marrow, and they treated it like it was paperwork to shuffle around for billing codes. The money trail. This part still makes me nauseous. My lawyer started digging into billing practices, and now we've got an accountant and a healthcare fraud investigator on the case. They pulled every insurance statement, every reimbursement code, every procedure billed under my name. Dr. K charged over $180,000 in treatments, drugs, procedures, and infusions over a 6-month period, not including hospital fees, just his clinic. And guess what? My insurance paid out nearly all of it. Why? Because it was coded under C91.0, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The moment that code is used, a whole protocol of chemo and supportive care is covered under urgency rules, meaning it doesn't need pre-auth for a lot of stuff. He knew that. He exploited it. Even worse, we discovered he's been prescribing a specific brand of chemotherapy that's part of a drug rebate program, which means he got kickbacks, actual cash incentives, for every dose administered in his office. So let's do the math. Fake diagnosis, controlled the lab providing the false pathology, prescribed a drug with financial incentives, billed the insurance for high-yield oncology services, didn't refer me to a hospital, so he kept me in-house and cashed the checks directly. This wasn't a mistake, this was a business model. The others. This is where things get sickening. After my lawyer sent a cease and preserve letter to Dr. K's practice, 2 former employees contacted our legal team, a nurse and a billing assistant, both anonymous for now, but they gave depositions under seal, and both said the same thing. I'm not the only one. One of them, the nurse, told my lawyer they had started to notice a pattern. Youngish women, often with vague symptoms, fatigue, joint pain, GI issues, would be referred for preemptive chemo under a diagnosis of early-stage leukemia or lymphoma, almost always based on internal lab results, never cross-verified by an outside hospital. Patients were discouraged from seeking second opinions because timing is crucial and were love-bombed with reassurance, cookies in the waiting room, soft blankets, etc. You know what she said that I can't get out of my head? We weren't saving lives, we were staging a production. She quit last year after a patient, a 28-year-old mom of 2, had a seizure during treatment. Turns out she never had cancer either, she just never found out, because she died. And no one questioned it. The other former employee, the billing assistant, confirmed that there were discrepancies in how diagnoses were coded and how chemo was billed. They were trained to enter certain codes without verifying that the diagnosis report was complete. Just trust the doctor. I can't even find the words for how that makes me feel. There's anger, yeah, but mostly it's dread, like I've walked into a horror movie and found the walls are made of patient charts. Last week, Dr. K's office sent a formal letter through their legal counsel. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even a denial. It was a warning, a cease and desist. They're threatening me with defamation if I continue to publicly spread false information that damages the reputation and professional standing of their practice. They said if I go public with this, they'll sue me. You know what my lawyer said? Let them try. Because every word I've written is documented. We have the original files, the forged lab reports, the misused billing codes, the former staff statements, and more. They're scared. That's what this is, desperate, and I'm not backing down. My health now. This is the part people keep asking about, how I'm doing physically, now that the chemo's over, and I know it was all a lie. Short answer? I'm still fucked up. Chemo isn't just medicine, it's poison. It's designed to kill rapidly dividing cells. When you don't have cancer, that just means it kills the healthy parts of you. My hair's still patchy. My period hasn't come back. I have nerve pain in my hands and feet. I can't hold a pen for more than 10 minutes without shaking. My teeth are crumbling. Literally crumbling, because of the calcium loss from the treatment. I've had 3 root canals since December. My immune system is shot. I got bronchitis twice in 2 months. A hangnail turned into a full-blown infection. And mentally, I'm a wreck. I don't sleep more than 3 hours. I flinch when I see someone in scrubs. But the worst part, I can't even trust my own body anymore. Every ache, every pain, every bruise, I spiral. Is it cancer this time? Is it real now? Am I crazy for even wondering? The lawsuit is being filed in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be ugly. Medical fraud cases are hard, especially when the doctor has money and lawyers and a squeaky clean public record. But I have evidence, I have witnesses, and I have the truth. There's also talk of taking it federal, since insurance fraud at this level involves crossing state lines and violating federal healthcare billing laws. That's still in motion. We're reaching out to media, carefully. Some investigative reporters have already shown interest. If that happens, I'm not hiding. I'll use my real name. If speaking up means one less person gets poisoned for profit, I'll take the hit. And yeah, I'm scared, but not of Dr. K. I'm scared of silence. I'm scared of the next woman sitting in his office right now, being handed a folder with my fake diagnosis, about to sign away her body and health and time and not even know why she's sick. I know some of you are waiting for some clean ending, a moment where I walk out of a courtroom with a check and a smile and say, justice was served. Update 2. Hey again. So, yeah, it's happening. The lawsuit is officially filed. My name is out there now. Real name, real case number, real hellstorm. I was trying to wait to post until things settled a bit, but they haven't, and probably won't. So here I am, and I'm shaking while writing this. Not because I'm scared, okay, maybe a little, but mostly because I can feel the weight of this thing, this truth I've been carrying, finally crack open in public. Last week, a local investigative journalist, who I trust more than 90% of the lawyers in my inbox, published the story. It's anonymous patients for now, but I gave them permission to use my name. I sat down, did a full interview, pictures, statements. They printed parts of my medical records, with all the sensitive stuff redacted, and detailed the timeline, my original symptoms, the fake diagnosis, the chemo, the second opinion, the lawsuit. The headline made me cry. Patient given chemotherapy without cancer diagnosis. Lawsuit alleges multi-million-dollar medical fraud. It was surreal, seeing my name next to that sentence. I kept reading it over and over like it might change if I stared hard enough, but it didn't. It's out there. And now that it's public, people are coming forward. A lot of people. I mentioned in my last update that there might be others, that a former nurse and billing clerk had said they'd seen stuff like this before. What I didn't know is that someone tried to raise the alarm years ago. Turns out, back in 2019, a woman in her late 50s filed a formal complaint with the state medical board against Dr. K after getting a stage 0 lymphoma diagnosis from him, only to have Mayo Clinic say there was nothing wrong with her. Her complaint was dismissed. Insufficient evidence. No follow-up. No investigation. No disciplinary action. She reached out to me after the article came out, said she cried reading it. She thought maybe she'd imagined it, or that her case was just weird, but now she's willing to talk. She's joining the case. Then 2 more women contacted the reporter, then 5 more women, all with similar stories, vague symptoms, sketchy labs, high-pressure chemo recommendations, no outside referrals, all treated in that same little strip mall oncology clinic with the scented candles and the "you got this" mugs. I feel sick. I feel angry. But mostly, I feel this crushing guilt that I didn't speak up sooner. Because one of them? She was 17 when it happened. 17. She was diagnosed with pre-leukemia at her senior physical, told to start chemo before prom. Her mom thought they were saving her life. She missed graduation. Her ovaries are shot. She's now 22 and can't carry children. I cried when I read her email. Then I screamed into a pillow for 10 minutes. Because what else do you do with that? The day after the article came out, Dr. K's lawyers put out a statement calling it a deeply irresponsible media attack on a respected physician with a record of compassionate care. He called me a disgruntled former patient. They said I misunderstood the diagnosis, that it was precancerous, and that he acted within medical guidelines. Except no. That's not what the report said, not what the second opinion said. Not what the pathology said. And now that other women are coming forward with the same goddamn story, I'm pretty sure we've moved past the misunderstanding phase and into full-on pattern. Also, let me just say, if this was a pre-cancer situation, why didn't any of my medical records reflect that term? Why is it all coded as full acute lymphoblastic leukemia? Why did he tell me I needed aggressive chemo right away with no second opinion? The more he talks, the more holes he digs. And if calling me disgruntled is the best he's got, good. Let him underestimate me. I've had people ask how I'm holding up, and I don't really know what to say. Some days I feel like I'm on fire, like I could take on the whole damn system and burn it down brick by brick. Other days, I just want to hide. I've started getting stares at the grocery store. One person actually walked up to me, recognized me from the article, and said, "I'm so sorry for what you went through," which was kind, but also deeply uncomfortable. My mom keeps asking if I regret going public. I don't, but it's exhausting. And this part is going to sound stupid, but I still get this weird wave of guilt sometimes, like I'm being dramatic, like maybe I should have just let it go. Then I remember the 17-year-old. And I remember the mouth sores and the bone pain and the way my toenails fell off and how I couldn't sleep on my side for weeks because every part of my skin burned. And I remember crying in the shower while clumps of hair fell out in my hands and thinking, at least it's killing the cancer, except it wasn't. And the guilt turns back into rage. So far we've got 8 plaintiffs now, including me. 2 have already submitted signed affidavits. My lawyer is talking with a class action team. We might go that route. Apparently, the fraud component is strong enough that a federal investigation might be triggered. We're hoping. We're pushing. The insurance companies are also sniffing around now, and they don't play. If they confirm that he falsified records to cash in on chemo reimbursements, that's jail. Actual jail. They subpoenaed some of his financials. And guess what? His clinic was billing over $3 million a year in outpatient oncology infusion services. for a tiny one-story building with no hospital affiliation. That's not normal. Someone's gonna pay attention. I can feel it. This didn't happen in a third world country. It didn't happen in some broken system with no regulations. It happened in a nice building, with glossy pamphlets and smiles and warm blankets. It happened to someone with insurance, a support system, questions. And it still happened, because we're trained to trust doctors. We're trained to assume they know better, to hand over our blood and our bodies and our futures because that's what we're supposed to do. And for the record, I still believe most doctors are good, but this one wasn't, and he wore the mask really well. So if you're reading this and something feels off with your diagnosis, ask, push, get that second opinion. Don't let fear or guilt or politeness stop you. I wish I'd asked sooner. I didn't expect the random messages from nurses who worked at other clinics and said they'd heard about Dr. K, that he had a reputation, that they referred patients elsewhere if they could help it. No one ever reported it, because how do you prove this stuff? I didn't expect 2 people from my college to message me and say, hey, I went through something similar. Not as extreme, but still shady. Can we talk? I didn't expect so many women saying, this is my worst nightmare. It's not just about cancer, it's about power, about what happens when someone in a position of trust abuses it and knows you're too scared, too overwhelmed, too damn sick to stop them. I don't know how this ends yet. Maybe we win. Maybe he settles and disappears into another clinic under a different name. Maybe we lose. But no matter what happens legally, I already won something bigger. He doesn't get to control the narrative anymore. He doesn't get to hide behind fake charts and soft voices and that calm little clipboard smile. We ripped the curtain down. People see now. And if even one person reads this and goes, something feels off with my doctor, and asks the hard questions they were scared to ask, then it's worth it. Every ounce of pain, every broken tooth, every strand of hair I lost, every panic attack, every hour spent shaking in a hospital chair thinking I was dying. Worth it. I'll be back when the next court date is set. Stay safe out there. Update 3. Hi again. Right now, Dr. K is still practicing medicine, still seeing patients, still has a shiny little nameplate on his clinic door and a Google rating that makes me want to scream into a wall. He's not suspended, not under investigation. Yet, I'll get to that. No restrictions. Nothing. After everything that's happened, all the women coming forward, the lawsuit, the national news coverage, he is still allowed to put on a white coat and tell people what's wrong with their bodies. So legally, we're in this awful waiting zone. The class action part of the lawsuit is still being certified. That means the court is reviewing whether enough of us fall under the same pattern of harm for it to qualify as a single case. There are now 15 of us, 15 women, ages 17 to 61, all with records that were reviewed, all with diagnoses that don't align with actual pathology, all given chemo or some other extreme treatment, all patients of Dr. K, all scared, all furious. We've done the depositions, submitted the affidavits, provided the financial records. My lawyer is working overtime trying to keep all the moving pieces together. We filed to freeze some of Dr. K's assets, which got denied. We filed again, still waiting. And it sucks because the legal system moves like molasses unless you're a billionaire or a corporation. In the meantime, Dr. K's clinic is fully open. One of the other women in the suit drove by last week just to see if he was still there. She said his parking spot was full. He's still seeing patients 3 days a week. He's walking around like he didn't steal years off our lives. Like he didn't poison people for profit. Like he didn't fucking ruin us. Since the last article dropped, the one with names, documents, and the full lawsuit filed, I've gotten a ridiculous number of messages, some helpful, some cruel, some terrifying. I got an email from someone who worked at a billing company that Dr. K's clinic used briefly before they brought billing in-house. They said they weren't surprised to hear what was happening. That he always had weird codes, unusual patterns, multiple patients with the exact same diagnosis, codes billed for the exact same treatments within days of each other. I got a voicemail from an older man who said his wife died under Dr. K's care in 2020. She had ovarian cancer, real cancer, and according to him, Dr. K insisted on keeping her in-house instead of sending her to a hospital. She died during a neutropenic infection. He said he was too broken to sue at the time, and now the statute of limitations has passed. I got a letter, a handwritten letter, from a nurse who said she tried to report him once for unprofessional conduct after seeing him pressure a woman into starting chemo on her first visit. Her report went nowhere. She quit after that. And I've also gotten trolls, of course, people saying I'm making it up for clout, that I'm trying to cash in on a sob story, that I probably misunderstood the diagnosis and am just bitter about being sick. Let me be very clear, I didn't misunderstand SHT. I still have the biopsy reports, the original blood work, the falsified lab summary with a forged signature. I have 3 separate oncologists, a pathologist, and 2 former staff members all backing up that this man lied. But none of that stops people from trying to gaslight me after the fact. And the fact that he's still seeing patients, that he still has a medical license, that people are still walking into that clinic every week, not knowing what the hell is waiting for them behind that exam room door, it makes me feel insane. I wanted to write the satisfying one, the they arrested him one, the clinic shut down one, the we won in court one. Instead, I'm writing this with a heating pad on my spine because I still have bone pain. Still. From chemo I never should have had. My fingers still get numb randomly. My periods came back last month, but they're completely irregular. I've had to get 3 iron infusions in the last year just to stay upright. And emotionally, I'm not okay. I smile more now. Yeah, I go out. I've got some of my life back. I reconnected with someone I knew from college. He's been supportive and kind and says things like, "You don't need to be perfect to be loved," which makes me cry almost every time. But I'm still angry. Angry in a way that doesn't burn clean. Angry like rot. Like something that lives in your bones. Because this man stole from me time, health, money, relationships, peace, and I'm still out here trying to rebuild while he gets to play doctor in that stupid fake fancy clinic. And when I close my eyes, I still see that beige chemo room. I still feel the burn in my veins when the drugs went in. I still hear the nurse telling me to be brave when I cried through my 3rd infusion. And now I know none of it was necessary. And that wrecks me. Here's what's coming next. Our next court hearing is in 6 weeks. More women are still contacting us. We're reviewing records with each new one. We're trying to push for an emergency medical board review to get his license suspended while the lawsuit is active. But that takes time. A few journalists from national outlets have reached out. I'm considering doing another on-record interview. I'll let you know if that goes live. There's now a Reddit group someone else made for victims of medical fraud. I'm lurking there. It's weirdly comforting, even when it's heartbreaking. Final update. I finally get to say it. We won. Not just in court, not just in headlines. I won myself back. And I want to walk you through exactly how we got here, because if you've been with me from the start, from the post where I found out I'd been given chemo for a fake cancer diagnosis, you deserve to know how it ends. The court ruling we didn't settle. He tried. His lawyers sent an offer after the class action status was certified, thinking we'd fold, that we'd want it to go away quietly, that we'd be too traumatized to face trial. We refused the NDA, refused the hush money, refused to make it easier for him to start over in another city with another license and do it again. The case went to trial. 3 weeks, 7 plaintiffs on the stand, 2 expert witnesses, hundreds of documents, emails, internal records, pathology reports with forged details, testimony from a nurse who watched him pressure women into starting chemo before they even got full lab work back. I took the stand on day 5. I told the jury everything: the diagnosis, the treatment, the side effects, the emotional collapse. I read out loud the line from the second opinion doctor who said, "There is no evidence of malignancy in this patient's labs or biopsy." When I looked over at Dr. K, he wouldn't meet my eyes. He looked small. On the final day, the jury deliberated for 5 hours. They found him liable on all counts: fraud, medical battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress. They awarded damages to all of us. Real, meaningful numbers. Not hush money. Justice. And now, his license is suspended, permanently. The medical board made their ruling 2 days. After the verdict, I was standing outside the courthouse with the other women, trying to catch my breath, when a woman I didn't recognize came up to me. She was crying. She said her sister had seen Dr. K in 2017, and died 6 months later after being told she had an aggressive blood cancer. The family always felt like something was off, but didn't have the means to pursue anything. She hugged me, said, "You did what we couldn't. Thank you." That moment, that was the real victory. Knowing someone else could finally exhale. knowing his reach had ended, that whatever twisted God complex he had, it was over. I'm not 100% healed. That's not how this works. But I've made peace with what happened to me, and more importantly, I've made peace with what I did about it. My health is still recovering. I've gained back most of the weight. My hair is short but thick. I've stopped flinching when I hear the word biopsy. I still go to therapy every week, and I probably will for a while. But for the first time in years, I feel like I own my body again, like I'm not living in survival mode, like I don't have to explain myself or justify why I was angry. I just get to be. Here's something I didn't expect to include in this update. I'm engaged. Yeah, that happened. The guy I mentioned in a past update, the one from college who came back into my life, he stood by me through every hearing, every deposition, every sleepless night. He made me tea when I was too tired to cook, sat in the back of the courtroom when I testified, held my hand when I thought I'd throw up from nerves. He proposed the night the verdict came in. No big speech, no grand gesture. Just him, sitting next to me on the floor of our apartment, holding my hand and saying, "We made it. Let's build something now." And we are. I didn't think I'd ever trust someone again. Not after this. Not after having my body violated by someone in a position of power. But I do. And that trust feels like the biggest miracle of all. This is my last post. Not because the pain is gone. Some parts of this will never go away. But because I'm finally ready to live without narrating the trauma. For the longest time, this story was my identity. The girl who got fake chemo, the lawsuit girl, the one who almost died from someone else's lie. Now, I'm just me again, the woman who fought back, who won, who gets to start over without flinching in the mirror. Please don't stop asking questions. Don't be scared to get a second opinion. Don't let someone in a white coat talk over your instincts. Don't assume you're overreacting just because someone with letters after their name says, "Trust me." Because I trusted him, and it nearly destroyed me. But also, don't let fear shut you down completely. Not all doctors are monsters. I have a team now I love. They helped undo the damage, rebuilt my trust little by little. There are good ones out there. You just have to find them, and keep them close when you do. And to Dr. K, if you're reading this, you didn't just lose your license, you lost your reputation, your legacy, your ability to hide behind lies and loopholes. You gambled with people's lives to make a profit. And I hope every time you Google your name, this story haunts you. I hope every time someone asks you what you used to do, your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. Thank you to every single person who commented, DM'd, messaged, or just quietly followed along. I started this terrified, an anonymous voice screaming into the internet.